Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel for another episode of Flea Market Finds, and this is stuff that I picked at the tractor show and swap meet down in Connecticut. That was at the beginning of this month, May 2025. It's the spring show, and did not disappoint. Ended up getting quite a few machinist items and some other doodads. But this pile of stuff right here, I put together this pile and got it for $110, and 10 of that was $5 a piece for these two new old stock genuine steel chainsaw chains. I checked them. He actually had three, but the third one, the box was open, and I checked, and the chain inside was a used chain. These two were unopened, and I opened one up just to double check, and these are brand new chains for $5 a piece. Also found this Starrett. Is this a 91B Starrett tap wrench? This is just a indicator holder. This is for a drop style indicator to mount to, and it's probably from an old Brown and Sharp or something like that mag base. This is a Starrett. I forgot what number it is, but this is a Starrett edge finder. This is the style that has the cone shape on one end and the reduced diameter on the other in the original pouch. This is a Fowler. It's got a model number on there, 52585-015. This is the version of this indicator base that has this interesting design that allows you to flip this one lever and this whole thing becomes loose. There's actually a cable inside here, and the way this works is there's a cam mechanism in here that will tighten that cable and pull these tight against each other. And once you flip that to the lock position, it's fairly rigid. Plenty rigid enough to support the indicator that's going to be on the end here. So this is kind of a neat design. Gives you a lot of versatility, like a Noga, in some ways even more than a Noga, because you can do something like this, like go around a corner, for instance, if for some weird reason you needed to do that. The Starrett version of this is quite expensive. The Starrett version of this still trades for big money used. This one, being a Fowler, will go for less. And then I grabbed like all of the indicators that he had there. I think initially I was going to leave this Starrett, and then I figured since it was the only one I wasn't taking, I might as well add it to the pile. Why was I going to leave the last word? Not because I have a problem with last words. As a matter of fact, this one works perfectly fine. It's just that I have so many of these now. So that being said, the rest of these, I believe, except for this one. So this is actually a nice Swiss-made indicator, but because it's an older indicator, I don't believe you can source parts for these anymore. That's the only drawback to these. But if they're working, drive them until the tires won't fall off, right? The rest of these indicators are all best test indicators, Brown and Sharp best tests. Most of them are the more typical style, like that. They've got this shape to them. Some of these are kind of scratched up or have small cracks in the crystals. See, it's funny, there's even a height gauge clamp in there with this one. This is a half thou, so 0.0005 is the resolution on that one. So there's that one. The aforementioned Alina, the last word. This one caught my eye because when I first opened the box, I thought it was an Interrapid because it's a dead ringer for an Interrapid. You see the difference in the style, but it's not. Even the face looks like an Interrapid, but it's a Brown and Sharp. I got a kick out of the fact that somebody even had to modify this case for a more traditional best test in order to get this one to fit in there. That's another half thou indicator. And then these two are actually tenths indicators. They're 0.0001 resolution. So these will tend to run you a little more money because of the higher resolution. And these are more typically going to be used for surface plate work. And here's the other tenths indicator. This is a blackface one. Pretty decent shape. So I figure I'm into these indicators for about 10 bucks a piece. Then he had a whole box full of various cutters and drill bits, and I went through and I noticed that several of them appear to be new old stock. So that's like a brand new drill bit, maybe used once. Yeah, it looks like it's got some swarf on the edge there, but these two here I grabbed, even though they didn't have holders, because they're solid carbide. You can tell from the weight. But it's just a mix of all different kinds of stuff that's in here. There's a 2-fluter. This is actually a little indexable cutter. Nice little indexable cutter, and a handful of inserts down inside the box here, and even the Allen wrench. It's a solid carbide center drill. And the last item in this pile was this little steel square, which I would have added to the pile anyways just because it's a cute little steel square. And initially I was hoping that it was a Starrett, because these small Starrett squares are kind of collectible. Turns out might even be better than that. It's a Brown and Sharp, which normally I don't really value too highly, because Brown and Sharp doesn't command the kind of money that Starrett does. But this particular one is a very early one in excellent condition, and it is marked DB&S. So of course the B&S is Brown and Sharp. The D stands for Darling. So I don't remember the exact history, but at some point in the history of the company there was a third partner, and his last name was Darling, and I believe that partnership was pretty short-lived. So the stuff that's marked DB&S tends to be rarer and usually will command more money because of that rarity. And this already being an interesting square because of its little tiny size and the fact that it's in such great shape, mercifully this was never engraved by anyone. So that's a keeper. Then I went back to the same guy later to pick up my stuff, because I had just had to put it in a bag on the side for me. When I went back later to pick up his stuff, I went through the box of end mills and stuff that he had there one more time, and I picked out another little pile right here for 10 more bucks. And what I like about this little grouping here is that these tubes right here actually contain multiple small drill bits, and the small ones are the ones you can snap real easily, so it's nice to have extras. Well, I'm not going to open it up, but they're like new old stock drill bits. This little short guy in here, I can tell just from the weight, it's another solid carbide. Yeah, another solid carbide center drill. Good stuff. Well, the first buy of the morning was off of a guy I've dealt with before. Put together this pile of stuff right here for 45 bucks. Ended up getting this this nice little Albrecht keyless chuck. It looks like it's never been mounted, so my theory is that it's new old stock and it was just hanging around so long that it got a little bit of rust on it, but not much. It's still in great shape. Yeah, maybe not. I see some crud down in there. Maybe this is used, but the bore where the taper is that it mounts, that's still in great shape. So got that chuck. These two new old stock scribers for height gauges. This one I have no idea who makes it. This one looks like the same part number. Yeah, PDR 10311-H. Oh, and this is a PDR 10414-K. That's a nice carbide tipped one. This is a little set of thread triangles. So it says J&L USA thread triangle for 4 to 80 pitch. So what this is this 3 little wedges in here. And what you do is you actually you put the triangle point into the threads. You hold 2 on one side and 1 on the other side, and then you do a overall measurement with a micrometer, and then you consult this chart, and it will tell you what the thread pitch is that you're looking at. And to keep those little triangles together and make them a little more manageable, you've got these little straps here to tie them together. So it's kind of like the 3-wire method, if you're familiar with the 3-wire method of measuring threads. Same works on the same principle. And then this is a new old stock Brown and Sharp edge finder, a 599 792-5. I believe this is going to be a double-ended one. So yeah, so it's kind of like the Starrett one I just showed. The cone on one side and the reduced diameter on the other side. And this is a little, it says complete 10-piece something caliper accessory kit made in the USA. So I didn't even look in here. I just read that and was like, oh, all right, I'll take that. And I could see through the plastic that amongst other things in here is a bunch of indicator points. And the way this works is these have little grub screws in them. You actually clamp these onto the jaws of your dial calipers. And then once these are mounted on the dial calipers, you then screw in the various little points that you want to use to make your measurements. So it shows how you mount them on there. That's a neat little kit. And the last item in this little pile for the 45 was this tool, which I do not know what it is, but it caught my eye because it says it's a Chipmaster Bridgeport accessory. It's got a plastic handle on it, on this metal hook that honestly it looks like what we used to call a Slim Jim for unlocking car doors. So this is to reach in and hook onto something. It's thin, like a knife blade. It's got this hook on it. Honestly, it looks like you could open doors with this thing. And this is caution, stop spindle before using this tool. Okay. Well, whatever it is, it's still on the MSC website. Sells for $29.50. One guy commented and says, it's cheap and it works. Product is subject to an import tariff which may affect the final price. Need help finding an alternative? Call us with a 1-800 number. Yep. I got this little box of steel shim stock for a couple of bucks. It's not brass, it's 2,000 thick steel. There's quite a bit still left. From another guy, I got this pile right here for 45, which I'll get to in a moment. And then he had a whole bunch of punches in a box. I told him, I started looking through them, and a majority of them were Starrett, all different types and styles. The lowest he would go was $1 a piece. So I cut myself off at just these 10 right here. But I grabbed all of the ones that he had that had this square shank on them, because I run into these less often. And they all appear to be in excellent shape. So I got these 10 punches for $10, and then, like I said, for $45 I got this pile right here, which includes this interesting little magnifier. It's a National Tool magnifier. This is one of those ones that probably has an insert in it. Yeah, it has one of those inserts in it so you can actually make measurements with this thing. And then this cool magnifier right here. These two Starrett adjustable parallels, that's a 154E and a 154C. So when I can buy these cheap, I'll buy them and I'll set them aside, and eventually I'll use them to help make up sets that are missing. Like sometimes you'll get a set that's missing some, or that they've been swapped out with other brands. And then not one, not two, but 3 of these little tiny Huat drill indexes. I think I featured these in the last video that I picked up one of these. And all 3 of these do have, that one's kind of rusty, but they do have a decent assortment of drill bits still left in them. And these are really small number size drills, so they're like hypodermic needles. and this Starrett 120 caliper, which these earlier Starrett 120 calipers are really nice calipers. The problem with this one is, A, it's filthy, B, it's kind of yellowed, so it's kind of, even if I clean it up, it's probably not going to look so great, but it still works perfectly fine. It repeats like it should. It moves smoothly. So, I mean, I'm still happy with that. You know, I gave that a quick cleaning, and it's not as bad as I thought. Probably won't do anything with that, just sell it just the way it is. Another one of the first buys of the morning was from a dealer who I've bought some nice stuff off of in the past. I just cleaned this indicator up to get a little better look at it. So normally a little back plunge style indicator that's not a good name brand like this I wouldn't bother with. But I mean, I did get it for only $2, and what caught my eye was it was a brand I'm not familiar with. Apparently this company is still in business. It's Lee, the Lee Company of Westbrook, Connecticut. And this is a little indicator, back plunge style indicator. It's got a nice indicator point on there too, the cone shaped one. But what's kind of neat is it's got this interesting dial gauge on it. It says long and short. So I'm not quite sure if this was part of a set, you know, that had accessories and whatnot with it, like kind of like the central tool ones that I find. But anyways, for $2 I grabbed that. Another guy had these are clearly Harbor Freight brand step drills, but they're brand new in the package, and I got these for $2, so good deal there. And then off that same gentleman I bought those center drills from. I mean, sorry, step drills. Did I say center drills? Guy I got the step drills from, he had this buck knife, and he was very cheap on everything. And when he got to this, and I said, "Oh, how much you want for the knife?" And he said, "That's a buck knife, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I was thinking, "Oh," he says, "Ah." And then I just thought he was going to hit me with this. He says, "Well, I think I got to get at least $10 for that." So I was like, "Yeah, okay." So it is yeah, it's a buck 110. I guess this is a 3 rivet, right? Even though it's got 2 small brass rivets and 1 large one. I don't know. It is, unfortunately, it was engraved by a previous owner right here, which I didn't notice that before, but that's okay. This is a really nice case. I might take one of my nicer buck knives and swap it out for the case. You know, if I have one that doesn't have a case or whatever. So from the same guy that I got that cheap buck knife and the cheap step drills from, he had this Pittsburgh tool bottle jack. Got some corrosion here. Other than that, the thing looks brand new. I don't think it's ever been used. Let me turn this around so you can see the label. So if it was used, I think maybe they never used the handles. Well, maybe it was used. That's okay though. But anyways, so what this is this is a 12-ton air over hydraulic bottle jack. So I've had plenty of bottle jacks, but I've never had one of these before. So the way this works is you get the regular place to put the handle here and use this like a regular standard bottle jack, or you can hook it up to air pressure and pull the handle, and this thing will just go up quick. So I thought that was kind of neat. I was like, that might be a handy thing to have. So I asked him, I said, "Well, how much you got? How much you asking for that?" And he says, $25. And it's a Pittsburgh tool, Harbor Freight, so it's a cheaper product. And I was thinking, yeah, you know, how much is that thing new? I wonder, you know. Well, it turns out I looked it up, and still in the Pittsburgh tool catalog, it's like $120 new. So I figured, what the heck, take a chance on it for $25. And I happened to be looking at this around the same time, and he included this little hand vise. All right, and then things were winding down, and I was walking around for one last time, and there was a guy who had like hardly anything machinist related at all, and he happened to have this Noga mag base sitting there. So we didn't have a poster or anything in it. It's just the magnetic base, but it works perfectly and it's in great shape. And I got this for $3, so that's a good deal. I'm sure I could find something to use this with. And then I went and saw a guy I know I've bought from over the years, and he didn't really have any machinist stuff for me this trip, but he did show me a couple of things.
and one of which was this this Stuart Warner, I believe is what SW stands for, tachometer. And the thing that's kind of neat about this one is that it's bi-directional. So if I turn it one direction, you'll see the needle goes to the right, and I turn it the other direction, it goes to the left. It's kind of limited as far as range goes. It doesn't have any switches or anything that allows you to like change the range. So it's RPM in hundreds. So it looks like it'll max out at, so 35 would be 3,500. Looks like it maxes out at 4,000 RPM. But it works perfectly fine, and it's kind of a neat little piece. And then, lo and behold, he had a buck knife too. So I got this buck knife from him for 15 bucks. This one is another 110. It's in pretty good shape. A little dirty, tarnished, no big deal there. But I got a kick out of, you think maybe he had enough tags on this? So I got the feeling that he picked this up somewhere else himself, and it had previous tags on it from somebody else. This tag is unmarked. This tag is his tag. He had $25 on it, but he treats me well, so I got it for 15. And this is the one that caught my eye. Somebody, not him, had marked this as a buck 110, 1980 to 1981 3-dot. So I think in a previous video I was showing you guys a bunch of buck knives I bought and said that, you know, I'm starting to get into buying these knives. I really should learn more about them. Well, apparently this 3-dot thing is a I don't know if that's the rare one or what. Now I just showed you one that I bought that has 3 dots on it, right? If we're talking about these, right? But note it. Now I just showed you one that was a 3-dot, right? If we're talking about the rivets. But the funny thing is, look, this has 4. It's got 3 brass ones and then the large steel one. So I still don't know or understand how these buck knives work as far as the rarity of them. But that's okay. Matter of fact, I still got the other one right here. So just, again, to show you. So you'll notice this one only has a total of 3. It's missing the one over here. But I don't know whether or not they count that one. In other words, is this a more common 2-dot one and it's missing the 3rd rivet over here that would make it the 3-dot because you ignored the steel one? I don't know. Alright guys, just about winding up here. These are the last 3 items. I got this Carlisle branded thread file for $2. This is like the typical ones. It's actually got 4 sizes on each end and this little cover that acts as a handle. And another Starrett depth mic that's in rough shape, but I only paid 20 bucks for it. The rods will clean up just fine. It's even got the wrench in there. So that's the problem right there. You can see that this got wet. And then it's been a little while, but I actually scored another one of these little drill index or drill holders that I like so much. This one is a wooden one. It's a Union Twist Drill Company from Athol, Massachusetts, number 6 for 15 bucks. With the drills in it, which I didn't really care about it, but they were included, as is often the case, whether I want them or not. Lots of times this type right here will be cracked or split. This one's not. It's actually in pretty good shape. Alright guys, so that's going to be a wrap for this episode. I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing and sharing the videos. Till next time, take care.